Gweakles and welcome back to another video. Today it was requested that I do how I give my line art character and variations. So I'm going to be going over a couple of different ways that I make my line art different instead of just being plain and boring. Now, the first thing that obviously anyone will note is that it really depends on what kind of inking you're doing. If you're inking with a brush, if you're inking with a brush pen, if you're inking with a Micron, which is just a steady felt tip, it's very thin, it's for very clean lines. Not to say that you can't get a varied line weight with it, just like I'm trying to demonstrate now. But I'm basically just showing you that the different lines and different line weights can also come from not just how hard or how soft you may be pressing down on your pen, but the actual pen itself. So if you're looking to get a variation in your line weight, it's probably best that you use a brush pen or just brush and ink. So you can see very clearly that I'm just using a Micron pen and they're perfect for very clean lines. Now you can, as I said, you can still taper your lines off to be thin on the end. You can still make them thick, go back over them and make them thicker. You can still get texture. A lot of artists, plenty of artists, just use Micron pens and they get so much variation in their work. It's really just experimenting with different things, different pens and items, and seeing what you like best. The Micron I started out with when I was in college, and I think it's best to start out with that for your line work, especially if you want something really clean. I find it's easier because if you're using a brush pen and trying to not get a whole lot of variation, but as you can see, I am getting variation depending upon how hard I am pressing this Micron, and there are different sizes of Micron. Here, I'm going to use the Zebra Extra Fine Brush Pen to show you that I can get very clean line art by simply just going very easy on it. And then if I go hard, I'm still getting that clean line art, but I'm getting a different line variation, whereas with the Micron, it's a little bit harder to achieve, but still it's easier to get thicker lines with a brush pen if it was fine or extra fine or maybe not. There's different sizes of brush pens and there's different types of brush pens. I of course will list the ones that I'm using down below. And here I'll go back to the Micron to show you again that I can get a thicker line weight by pressing harder or by lifting up on the paper. And line weight is just one way that you can give your line art character or dimension and just give it some attitude, give it some fluff. I like character. I think character works best. But obviously I do, oh, and here's the Pigma Brush Pen, because the Pigma Microns also make brush pens. And as you can see, I can get a very thin line with that, same as I would the other one. But obviously also, it's going to be way easier to get a variation. So still really small, still really strong killing lines. Now you're probably wondering why I drew two Gokus here, and that is because the one on the left, I'm trying to just do a normal, clean, I guess you could say, line art and like show you the variations of weights without even like really trying to put much texture in it. Now I'm going to use the Pentel Pocket Brush Pen for the Goku on the right, and I'm just going to make a mesh, show you that not only can you get texture and character out of your line art with the pen, but you can also get another way to get some characters, basically adding texture with your lines, like maybe adding a little more fluff to his hair, or making his hair really thick and then another part of him, like the more detailed parts of his face or his band-aid or his clothing, make those lines. See, I'm making that line a little smaller. So it's giving it more character by that just on line weight. And then on another thing that I really like to do, which I'll show you, see, and then I'm adjusting, I can easily adjust how thick or thin each one of those lines are with that. And a lot of people favor this brush because you can get so many variations of thick and thin. However, it is very nerve-wracking. So if you really want very thin lines, you have to move slowly. Or else, you know, if you like going quickly and giving yourself character, I went a little quicker with this head, so see there I'm going a little slower with some of those bangs, but here I'll go way slower and get way thinner lines, and just, it's, you know, with everything it's taking time. But the thinner your brush pen, the more, you know, time you have to take to get a thinner, clean line. Now here I like to add a little texture to like my shadows. This is another way that you can adjust your line art by, instead of painting or coloring the texture in there, but providing it within your lines. So the folds of the gi that he has on, the little shadow under his chin, maybe not use soft lines for his skin because he's always fighting and getting roughed up, so maybe his skin is a little more rough than it would be smooth. So that is one of my favorite ways, actually, really, to show some texture and character in my line art, is I like to add like the lines or make certain edges more thick or color in more pieces more dark than others. But you can see, like, if I move quickly, obviously that's not going to be a perfect star, but it's giving it more character. And I'm putting some scratches on the Dragon Ball and on Goku's arm because, you know, its skin isn't perfect, and, you know, it's not, neither is clothing. So it's good in a way. If you want to go slow, you can get slow, soft, maybe smaller marks. If you want to go fast, maybe you can get thicker marks, and it could be very much more fluid and just have a character of its own just from you going fast and throwing caution to the wind and not really being on edge with every little line that you make. It depends on what sort of piece you're trying to accomplish. What are you trying to accomplish with this piece? Are you just testing it? Are you trying to make something super detailed? Maybe you need to make something super small with a lot of etching in it. Or maybe you don't want the line art to have so much character. Maybe you really want it to be very clean and you want your colors to shine through. It's all a personal preference, and it depends on both the tools you use and how you use them. So I highly recommend that you try out different ways of inking, and definitely expand your mind and see what works best for you. I've been trying a bunch of different brush pen sets, and that's what's helped me out. But anyways, I hope you guys like this video. I even the Trace Goku has a different line variation just from me going fast. But I hope you guys like this video. Give me an idea for anything else you'd like to see, and leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you think. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.